The story is everything. That's the thing that keeps people engaged, that makes them want to watch, that compels them to ask in their own mind, what's going to happen next? I've got to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that is a construction.
You went from there, like you were just starting and taking whatever was coming to you, to actually write a book. And I want to mention the title, Practical Guide to Documentary Editing. At the end of the day, you have beautiful footage, but if you don't have a story, good luck editing 1 hour of footage.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
I would like for you to, I would like to talk about that a little bit with you. I would like, for example, like, why did you put that in the very first chapter?
Well, for the reasons you say, the story is everything. That's the thing that keeps people engaged, that makes them want to watch, that compels them to ask in their own mind, what's going to happen next? I've got to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that is a construction. There's something mystical and romantic about it, and it's story, and what is that? Well, actually, there are underlying scaffolding and structure to these things that's fairly predictable, and you can plan them quite well. That's what the story is, really. It's about creating that question in people's mind of what happens next, and making them care to want to watch it.
Yeah.
And just to go back to the beginning of a little bit of why this book was something that I felt was needed, was when I was learning, there's loads of books that were anecdotal about filmmaking in general sense, and the kind of the kick of it, but nothing that was like, here's how you actually do it. And if you were to ask editors or people in the building I was working with, people would go, oh, you just sort of feel it, or you just kind of know when it's right. And there's all this sort of like soupy kind of smoke and mirrors, because I think a lot of the time people also people want to share, but they also want to protect what's theirs. And it's hard-won kind of experience that takes, years of kind of dedication to maybe figure out. But actually, I was writing stuff down all the time and taking notes, and I had these notebooks, and actually it was pretty common sense, practical stuff, It's a bit of science, and it's a bit of common sense, really, and you can boil it down. I mean, you can't substitute experience and the learning of that, but equally, you can certainly go, it's more over here than over there, if you're looking.
How do you know you have a compelling story and not just a bunch of footage about something?
Well, I think for a really good story, you need a character. You need either a person or maybe a team, of some sort, or something that you can characterize, because you have to empathize. You're sort of meeting this person as if it's you almost. And they have to have some need or some goal and some desire. And that story, by virtue of that, is the journey to obtain it. It could be a problem to overcome. It could be something to win. It could be something to find. I'm very keen on archetypes in a way, especially in documentary. There's a book, I think it's Christopher Booker, The 7 Basic Plots. And it would argue that, there's sort of 7 archetypes of story, not to go too far into that, but
it's specifically tailored for documentary, or
it's feature. It's fiction in general, but I mean, I think when good documentaries are made, they are essentially, you're cutting it like a movie the best you can.
Yeah.
It's a character and their needs, and it's the journey to discovery, and what sort of makes a story compelling, if you're going to say that, is that, as I said, you sort of want to make people care about this character, so you really need to sort of establish their need. What is it that they want, this person or this team, let's say, and then you've got to dance away from the answer for as long as you damn can, and that's the kind of compulsion to drive that audience to want to know what's going to happen next. So you're setting a compelling problem, and dancing away from the answer, and when they're good, the threads all tie up at the end that it all resolves.
I remember at the beginning, because I was feeling that tension in the editing, I wanted to solve it right away, not understanding that actually that's what makes the whole piece interesting. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I will start to feel the tension of solving that, I'm like, let's solve this right away. But then it's like, no. Hang on on that. Hang on it.
I think that's right. I mean, it does depend on the format and how much time you've got. And, when you make stuff for broadcasters, they've got specific technical requirements about, duration, etc. But Yeah, really, that's right. You want to take baby steps to lay it out, and every scene is doing one little piece of this at a time. And maybe when, you talk about the problems people encounter, like the one you're mentioning, it's trying to make everything do too much or too much at the same time. You've got to be really simple. You can build up to something complicated, but you've got to break it down into all the kind of individual units almost, and go through them one by one, and you get the picture in the end.